What's up, Richard? Timmy's here. Since he's coming back to TV this week with the new series The Beauty, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Ashton Kutcher film and TV projects. Because I could have just said a top 10 films instead, but he has some wide ranging good TV shows in my opinion as well. And I've always liked Ashton Kutcher, from like that 70s show to some of his movie career and stuff. I think he could be pretty good when he wants to. So here is my official top 10. All right. Number 10 is a TV show, obviously, and that is the show Punked. Now, Punk was a show that premiered on MTV from like 2003 to 2007. I used to get kicked out of this loads of times back in the days. Of course, here you got Ashton Kutcher, who plays himself, who often pranks celebrities, and they've had some really fun pranks from like Justin Timberlake, to Jessica Alba, to many others. It was a pretty fun show. Like you never really couldn't take it much seriously, but it was really cool. Always got a kick out of it. I think they did revive it before as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the revivals didn't really do too well. But still, Punk is a really good one. I would love to see Ashton Kutcher come back to the world of Punk these days, but who knows? All right. Number 9 is New Year's Eve. Now, New Year's Eve is a really nice little rom-com directed by Gary Marshall. And here is where like interconnected stories following various New Yorkers whose lives intersect on New Year's Eve, exploring love, loss, fresh starts here. I mean, it has a great cast. You have the likes of Robert De Niro, Halle Berry, Leah Michelle, Zac Efron, Michelle Pfeiffer, Ludacris, Hilary Swank. The list goes on and on. My favorite storyline is actually the Ashton Kutcher, Leah Michelle storyline, where here you got Ashton Kutcher who plays Randy, who's just a graphic designer who hates the holidays and gets stuck in like a elevator with like with a stranger played by Leah Michelle. And I really quite like the chemistry with Ashton Kutcher and Leah Michelle. In the pretty much being stuck in the elevator together here. Of course, obviously, Ashton Kutcher was also in Valentine's Day. I was gonna choose between either Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve, but I said go with New Year's Eve. I think that is actually the better one in my opinion. Uh, but New Year's Eve is a really decent, nice, charming one. If you guys have, I know it didn't really get the best reviews at the time, but I really quite enjoyed New Year's Eve, and it's a really good one there. All right. Number 8. All right, this is a little tricky because he's barely in it. He's only in like a couple of scenes, and that's really it. But it's actually a memorable scene, in my opinion. Number 8 is Cheaper by the Dozen. I adored his scene in this. Of course, you got Hank, Ashton Kutcher, who shows up as the role of Hank, who actually plays like the older Doris, boyfriend really, who dates Nora, but he does not really like the kids and all that. And one of my favorite moments was when when majority of them got Hank back here, with the dog, the meat and stuff. Yeah, if you guys seen Cheap by the Dozen, you know what scene I'm talking about. That's a really fun, like one of my favorite moments in that. It's I hate to say it, but Ashton Kutcher's character of Hank was a little bit of a douche, and I hate to say it, but he the guy what he deserved. But yeah, I really quite like Cheap by the Dozen as well. It's such a really fun, charming one, and a really cool one there. All right, coming in at number 7 is Guess Who. Now, this is of course a modern twist on the Sidney Poitier classic Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, focusing on a black family grappling with their daughter's white fiance. Of course, you do got this was one of like Zoe Saldana's earliest roles. You also do got the late great Bernie Mac. The dynamic chemistry with Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac was really fun. It is a really fun little comedy. It is a really decent one that is well worth watch here. If you guys ever seen Guess Who, give that one a go. All right, number 6 is Two and a Half Men. I know this is a little controversial, whatever. Just people did not really like the idea of them, recasting Charlie Sheen and stuff because if you guys remember, Charlie Sheen got himself a little trouble back in the day. So he pretty much left really. And I really did not mind Ashton Kutcher's role. Here he plays the role of Walter Schmidt, who's a tech billionaire dealing with heartbreak and identity issues. And Kutcher initially avoids, mimicking Charlie Sheen and creating like a gentler, more earnestly fish out of water human. And I really quite liked the camp. Of course, this was around a time where Charlie Sheen's, Charlie Harper character, died. And I really quite like the dynamic chemistry with Ashton Kutcher and John Cryer. Of course, obviously he will go on to play the role from 2011 to the finale, which actually had a fun cameo by Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I always thought that was really fun. But yeah, Ashton Kutcher I thought was really good. He was obviously just as hilarious as Charlie Sheen was. You even had a fun cameo by Mila Kunis, who obviously they're not married to. But yeah, his role in Two and a Half Men wasn't so bad, and of course his ex-wife was played by Judy Greer, who's always incredible. So a really decent role there. All right, number 5 is No Strings Attached. Now you guys might remember this movie came out the same year as another film with the same premise, which was that film also with Mila Kunis, by the way, called Friends with Benefits. And I still think Friends with Benefits is the better version of this. But I still thought, No Strings Attached was a really decent film, say at least. It is, of course, where like these two friends who agrees to purely should have a purely physical relationship, only to discover the emotional attachment is impossible to avoid here. The aforementioned Ludacris even pops up here as one of Ashton Kutcher's buddies. I mean, Ashton Kutcher does play the part well. His chemistry with Natalie Portman's really decent. Kevin Kline even pops up in this as dad. I mean, I really quite enjoyed it a lot. It's definitely a really nice rom-com. Really, like, Ashton Kutcher could do the rom-com stuff really well, and I thought he did a good job here. All right. Number 4 is The Butterfly Effect. Now, The Butterfly Effect was a really interesting little thriller and really showcased, that Ashton Kutcher was just not just that comedic guy that you're used to saying. And here, The Butterfly Effect is about a young man who discovers he can travel back to a moment from his past. And, of course, you have the always incredible Amy Smart is in this. I mean, I really thought Ashton Kutcher definitely had that serious aspect pretty well. The guy could show that he could do more serious roles. We see that when he played Steve Jobs. Not a great film, but he was actually pretty good in it. But here I was more of his, dramatic turning point that really showcased that he was not just that comedic guy, that dumb comedic guy you're used to saying. And I know he did a good job of playing his part. Really decent performance there. There was also a couple of sequels, which Kutcher did not return for, and they're not so good. So, yeah. All right. Number 3 is Just Married. Now, Just Married, of course, stars the late and talented actress Brittany Murphy. And it's where like a newlywed couple's dream honeymoon, across Europe turns into a series of escalating disasters that test their marriage almost immediately here. And it's directed by Sean Levy, who will go on to direct, to obviously work on Stranger Things. He will go on to direct a little movie that came out 2 years ago, Deadpool Wolverine. I mean, whoever knew this? The guy who directed Cheap by Dozen, Big Fat Liar, Just Married, will go on to direct a Deadpool movie and an upcoming Star Wars film. And, become a creator on one of the hit shows of all time, Stranger Things. Whoever imagined that? But, yeah, Just Married was a pretty decent, charming film. Brittany Murphy and Ashton Kutcher, I think they actually did that time, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken there. But they definitely showcase their good chemistry chops here, and a really nice little film there. All right. Number 2, I'm going with That 70s Show. Of course, That 70s Show is the iconic sitcom, that features the likes of Mila Kunis. Of course, you do got, Danny Masterson and all. And here you got Ashton Kutcher, who plays Michael Kelso, who's the handsome but clueless jock of the group here. And of course, Kutcher turns what could have been like a one-and-done note dumb guy into a comedic icon throughout. Of course, he will go on to reprise his role again for That 90s Show, which I thought was pretty fun there too. But yeah, That 70s Show is a really fun, hilarious sitcom. I mean, Kitty and Red Foreman, come on. Who does not love Red Foreman? Still, he was such a scene stealer. Of course, obviously the one that really introduced us to Mila Kunis, before she became Meg from Family Guy. Of course, Wilmer Valderrama, Topher Grace, Laura Prepon, some great cast members throughout. Actually, really plays a part well and a really cool performance there. Now, my favorite thing that Ashton Kutcher has been in is Dude, Where's My Car? Now, Dude, Where's My Car did not really get the best love at the time. But I love Dude, Where's My Car? It's definitely a really fun comedy, slapstick comedy to me. Where, like, after a while night, these best friends, Jesse and Chester, spend the day, retracing their steps after and try to find, Jesse missing the car. And they encounter cults, aliens, many others. Like, one of my favorite moments of this will always be the drive-through scene. I mean, and then that scene always cracks me up every time. Once in a while, instead of just watching the movie, I will always just rewatch a clip of the drive-through scene. One of my funniest single moments in a comedy, in my opinion. And of course, the chemistry with Ashton Kutcher, Sean William Scott is great. Jennifer Garner and Marla Skoloff play twins in this. Cool there. You got Ostrich here. It's such a really fun one. If you guys never seen Dude, Where's My Car? Do yourself a favor. Go watch it. It is one of the funniest comedies in my opinion. But that's pretty much it there. Here is my quick rundown. Number 10, Punk'd. 9, New Year's Eve. 8, Cheaper by a Dozen. 7, Guess Who. 6, 2.5 Men. 5, No Strings Attached. 4, The Butterfly Effect. 3, Just Married. 2, That 70s Show. And number 1 is Dude, Where's My Car? Now, let me see. What else we got here? All right. A few others. Oh, the show The Ranch, which, of course, got a little controversy because of the whole Danny Masterson stuff, and he got fired from that, But The Ranch was a really fun little sitcom, by the way. That had Sam Elliott, Danny Masterson, Alicia Cuthbert, and despite the whole controversy with Danny Masterson getting fired from that show and stuff like that, I still thought it was a really fun little sitcom. Let's see. Jobs, he was good in it, but the movie wasn't all that great. A Lot Like Love that he did with Amanda Peet. What Happens in Vegas, Spread. My Boss's Daughter with Tara Reid. The Guardian. He was pretty good in the movie Bobby, the Emilio Estevez film. Valentine's Day. I mean, some interesting performances over the years. Anyway, let me ask you guys, what are some of your favorite Ashton Kutcher film and TV projects? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. This is Him Signing.